All right. I don't know if I'm live yet, but we will see in a second. As soon as you find people who are here, reply and let me know that I am up and running. While I'm waiting for you guys to reply, I'm actually going to hop into my phone. Oh, I don't want that. And let's see if I can find my live stream. So my videos live. All right, it sounds okay. All right. And I need my glasses to read chat. Oh my God, what is this? These glasses are filthy. Okay. I need different glasses to read chat. Ashley, yes, you did just catch a live. I'm actually here right now, as are you. Welcome. Thank you. Yes, I am back home. Had a good trip. Let me know if you guys can hear the music in the background. I've currently got some music playing, and I want to see if you guys can hear it. If not, I will turn it up just a touch. I usually like to have some background music while I'm chatting. CML21 says, all good here. Hope you're doing well and had a good trip. I did. Actually, I think these glasses are making it worse. They're making it worse. Good evening, Bill from the UK. Thank you so much, Weaver Family Adventures. Chris Stamp says, how are things for you? Things are doing really good. You can't hear the music. Okay. I'll turn it up just a little bit. I like to have the music, but I can never tell if you guys can hear it because, you know, the mix is always a little bit different. The ceremony? There was no... What ceremony? Still not sure if the music's playing. All right. Let me grab my headphones. And we'll see if I can hear what you hear. Oh, I definitely hear some music. Yes, I taught all day today. Did I realize Mike was a cosplay acting like a priest on the last video? I did not realize it. I finished recording and my wife walks in and she goes, why are you dressed like a priest? And I walked into the bathroom because there's a mirror in the hotel. And I looked and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And then I looked at the footage on my laptop and I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So I figured I'd just lean into it and tell everybody to roast me. You know, make fun of me for... The problem is I was recording it on my phone, right? So I was recording this on my, or not this, but I was recording that video on my phone. And so this is what I could see. I couldn't see me. I could just see this side of my phone. So I had no idea what I looked like. Awesome. Edgar asks, have you played Mugenics? I have not played Mugenics yet. It's definitely something that I'm interested in. I've heard really, really good things about it. Am I going to play the new Scott Pilgrim game? I'm not sure. What's the genre? I played the last one, and that one was like a side-scrolling beat 'em up. So I'm curious what this Scott Pilgrim, what type of game this one is. Actually, let me look. Let's look it up. I'm going to go to Steam powered. Whoops, not SteamDB. And Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim EX. Let's take a look at this. Oh, it's a little too small. Hold on. There we go. All right, skip to gameplay. Skip to gameplay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's another beat 'em up, it looks like. I like the art style. I think it's pretty cool. Very I don't know, chibi or whatever. $30 is a little high. Not super, like, I think that you're paying for the license there, and if they made the same exact game with different characters, it would be a cheaper game. But there is a demo, so you can try out the demo and find out. I guess I will try out the demo. That looks pretty cool. Thanks for the recommendation. Do I have a favorite game? My favorite game is absolutely Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom combined. It's those two together. Those two games together are just absolutely fantastic. Can I please give the exact date and price of the Steam Machine, please and thank you? Yes, I can, but I won't. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I have no idea when the Steam Machine is coming. I would really, really like the Steam Machine to be in my hands right now so I could test it out and see what it's like. I want a living room PC that's small and quiet and doesn't make any noise and is indescript, so like you don't even notice that it's in the room. I really, really want the Steam Machine, but I don't know when it's going to happen. Pegaroo says, oh, and the price. I don't know the price. So when the Steam Machine got announced, my prediction was that it was going to be $650. Now, the fact that RAM has skyrocketed in price and increased the price of everything, you know, you look at the fact that Valve has recently raised the price of the Steam Deck, not in all places, but in some places, up to $100 more. Well, my original prediction was $650, so my new prediction is $750. So I'm imagining that this thing is going to be $750, but that's assuming that the RAM prices are somewhat stable at this point, and I really don't think that they are. Will we ever see a tactical plan full shooter like the original Rainbow Six? You know, I don't know, but I think that would be cool. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was watching, I can't even remember what I was watching, but there was like a SWAT team doing SWAT team things, you know, and they were busting in on somebody and taking them out. And I was like, you know, what would be cool is if they had, remember the SWAT games? But they had that where you would, plan out your tactical plan and then try and execute it with your friends. I think that would be awesome. Finn Rizal says, I wonder if it's really Valve that raised the price of the Steam Deck or it's just a third-party distributor. You know, I've seen people ask about that. I don't know nobody knows who raised the price, but I can't see the distributor. Like, there's no benefit for the distributor Komodo for raising that price, because with Valve, they they would have to raise the price because of RAM shortages, but Komodo isn't experiencing RAM shortages, just Valve is. You know what I mean? David Linesk says, Bill, what makes you still want the Steam Machine given that you already have built a similar PC with better specs? Well, just because, number one, this PC is stuck on this TV. I have other TVs. I would like to be able to play a game like, what's the party game that everybody plays? I can't remember the name of it. My kids like to play it, and I would like that on the TV in the living room, and I cannot think of the damn name of it. You Don't Know Jack? No. It's from the people that made You Don't Know Jack originally. Somebody in chat's going to tell me, and I'm going to feel like an idiot for not remembering. How does the RAM in the deck compare to the machine? Like, that flat $100 on both makes sense? Well, they have the same amount of RAM in both. I don't 100% know like the difference between them, because if you look at the Steam Deck, they tell you exactly what kind of RAM is in there because the system's out. But if you look at the Steam machine, they don't tell you exactly what type of RAM that is. They just say that, yes, it's Jackbox. Thank you. Matt Without Fear is the first one that told me that, or at least the first one that I saw. They don't tell you exactly what kind of RAM is in there. So if I go to steamdeck.com and we take a look at steamdeck.com, I scroll down and I find, it looks like they changed. This looks a little different than it used to. I didn't notice that before. Does this web page look a little bit different than it used to? And actually, I need to grab this, and it is too big. So let me zoom this out. I just got to make this just a little bit smaller. All right, I guess that's going to have to do. And then lock, and then... nope, not that. Scale to window. Here we go. That looks a little bit different to me. But anyway, if you come down here, tech specs, it's actually all the way up at the top. If we look at the tech specs, under RAM, it says 16 gigs of LPDDR5 onboard RAM, 6400 mega transfers, quad 32-bit channels. Okay. Okay, that stopped for some reason. We go back over here. Now, if we go to Steam Machine, so that would be Steam Hardware, and we look at their Steam Hardware page, and we scroll down to the tech specs, which are going to be someplace. So I guess I got to click on Steam Machine. And then we look for the tech specs someplace. It's a big gray page, I think. Here we go. RAM, 16 gigs of DDR5 plus 8 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. So when you look at the difference between those two, you're not getting as much information on the Steam machine. So we really don't know how the two, I really don't know how the two RAMs compare. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm sure that there's a lot of other people out there that would know a little bit more than me. Yeah, it looks different. Like the website looks a little bit different. I didn't notice that before. And for some reason, the music shut off. Oh, it just got to the end. Actually, I'm going to take my headphones off because I feel like I'm shouting with the headphones on. And I'm just going to... I'll just keep it playing. Let me find... There we go. Put on some music again. All right. Steam Machine will actually use consumer-grade SODIMM memory sticks, which makes matters worse. Right. So SODIMM, so that means it's like the same stuff that you go to the store and buy, because you can upgrade the RAM in the Steam Machine. The issue, you can't upgrade the VRAM in the Steam Machine. That's right. I forgot about that. Thank you for the extra information there, Reaper. So yeah, you're going to have, basically it's going to be even more expensive, but at the same time, Valve gets to buy in bulk. They get to buy lots and lots and lots of stuff. And because they're buying in bulk, they are going to be able to get it cheaper than you or I would be able to. So when somebody is like, just sell the Steam Machine without any RAM in it and let us buy the RAM and put in it, that's actually going to be more expensive than if Valve puts the RAM in themselves. Now, some other people might say, well, I already have RAM, and if I already have RAM, then I can put it where I can put it in, because it's not going to cost me anything to put it in there. I also think that the number of people who are going to buy a Steam Machine and then put their own stuff in it is a very small number of people. If you're doing that, just build your own machine. You're going to be able to build it cheaper. It won't be as quiet. It won't have CEC. Maybe you won't be able to have HDR, but you know what? I have a computer right over there that's hooked up to that TV. It's not as quiet as a Steam Machine will be. It's bigger than a Steam Machine is. It's What's the other thing that I said? Oh, it doesn't have CEC, and I don't have access to HDR. But it was also like it's more powerful than the Steam machine, and it's not that much louder. So I think the number of people, like there's a lot of people out there that look at the Steam machine and they say the Steam machine has to sell this many or has to outsell the Nintendo Switch 2 or the PlayStation 5 in order to be considered a success. And I think that those people don't understand that Valve is playing a very different game than everybody else. They don't have to sell a certain number in order to do well. They just have to sell the ones that they make. And as long as they sell the ones that they make, I'm sure that they'll be happy with it. Bill, how many shits do you care about the next gen of consoles? Any expectations or asks of the PS6? Well, I mean, I am not a console wars guy. So like I have a PC, I have a Switch 2, I have an Xbox Series S or X, and I have a PS5. I like to play games on all different systems. I'm a little less likely to pick up the next Xbox if it's just a PC because I already have a really good PC. And like it's not as appealing as I think it used to be for me. But PlayStation is not just a PC, and it has a bunch of exclusives that I would probably be interested in. I also think that the PlayStation controller is fantastic, and the UI on the PlayStation is great. So, I mean, when the PS6 comes out, what I hope for is that it's a reasonable price, that that it has a lot of games at launch to justify upgrading from the PS5. And I hope that PSSR just keeps getting better, because I saw that video from Digital Foundry, and PSSR, oh my God, PSSR 2 is way better than FSR. Like when you compare FSR 4 to PSSR 2, which it's not really called PSSR 2, but that's what we're going to call it just because it makes more sense. It's way better than FSR 4. In fact, let me find that real quick. So if I go to youtube.com/digital foundry, they put out this great video that shows PSSR 2. Here we go. And I'm going to pause it. All right. So we're paused. And now I just got to search around for it. So let me bring this up for you guys. We'll do T for theater mode. There we go. Oh, stop playing and mute. So we're looking for, here we go, new PSSR and DLSS. Oh, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. So if you guys look down here on the bottom, we can see AMD FSR 4.03 performance mode on the left-hand side. And then the new PSSR 2, 52% axis resolution. I don't know what the hell that means, but whatever. The new one, it looks significantly better than AMD FSR 4. And FSR 4 might not even make it onto something like the Steam machine. So the PSSR 2 is looking real good. But when you compare PSSR 2 to NVIDIA's DLSS takes the cake. Like DLSS 4.5 is really, really good. Hopefully I answered your question. Oh, and you know what? Schrobin in chat says something really smart. He says, next gen consoles ain't coming anytime soon, though. And you're not wrong about that. In fact, I don't think we're going to get next gen consoles for a very long time. I think that next gen consoles, I think because of the Rampacalypse, where you're going to see Xbox and Sony delay the launch of those machines, and we're eventually not going to get those until well after they were originally planned, if that makes sense. That's what I think. I don't know it 100%, but that's what I think. And Andre, thank you so much. They sent in a super chat for 500 of some currency. I don't know what currency that is. Looks cool though. They said, thanks for the pod, Bad News Bill. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. By the way, one thing, like I watch a lot of podcasts, and one of the things that I really appreciate is when people send in nice messages like that. Like I often see people send in super chats that have questions that they want me to talk about, but Andre just sent in a super chat to say, hey, thanks. And I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. Dr. Phobus says, can't wait for the Steam Controller 2 as Xbox doesn't have gyro. You are not wrong about that. Microsoft needs to pull their heads out of their rear ends when it comes to getting like putting gyro into their controllers. They're the only ones that don't have it. PlayStation has it, Nintendo has it, Valve obviously is going to have it with their controller. You get a bunch of third-party controllers have it too, but the Xbox controller doesn't. And because of that, we constantly see like games not use gyro when they could use gyro, and it would be really good if they used gyro, but they don't bother because a non-insignificant portion of their audience won't use it or can't use it because they're on Xbox. Now looking at graphics at 3x zoom, I'm thinking of Rich's I want shorter games next gen feels absolutely pointless to me. You know, Groggles, you're not wrong about that. When you look at these kind of graphics, what I was talking about a little bit ago, you are 100% right. When you are in the middle of playing a game, none of this shit matters. You don't notice any of that. You're just playing and it's fun. However, at the end of the day, if you are simply making an objective comparison between FSR 4, PSSR 2, and DLSS 4.5, DLSS 4.5 outshines them all, and AMD FSR 4.0.3 is definitely the weakest of all of the upscalers. And yeah, you're right. 3x zoom, who cares? But some people care. I'm not necessarily one of those people that cares that much, but I do think it's interesting. Valve mentioned the possibility of a Steam Machine Pro with better specs. Do you think they should just cancel the Steam Machine and focus on the Pro later? Did they mention that though? Like, did they? Or did somebody ask them about that and they said no comment? So I don't remember that, and I'd be interested to see that somewhere. Sorry about that. Let's see. Steam Machine Pro. I don't know why I suddenly have like a tickle in my throat. So I found this over at Tweaktown. It says Valve is open to Steam Machine Pro, but mid-spec takes focus for now. Let's see what they said. Okay, here we go. So this, yeah, right here. Whoops, come on. Get out of here with your subscribe to my newsletter stuff. Don't do, oh my God, don't do pop-ups. All right, right there. So Pierre-Luc Griffet was asked about it by SkillUp. And basically, are you going to do a pro? He said, potentially. Yeah, we're open to anything. For now, we're focusing on this level of spec because we think it's a good trade-off between affordability and the level of power that we get. So I would say that's a complete non-answer, right? Nothing against Pierre-Luc Griffet for answering in that, like, in a non-answer way. but that's not what, like, they didn't say that they were thinking about doing one. They said that they're open to anything. You know, they didn't really answer that question. How old am I? 49. I'm really old. Too old for FSR, and I'm dead before I can focus. Yeah, true. All right. I want to talk really quick about this article that I saw. This article I thought was really interesting, and it's all about physical games, because we constantly have people talking about how they're tired of physical games being taken away and that kind of thing. And then I saw this article over at Kotaku that is talking about physical video game sales declining a ridiculous amount. So let's take a look at it. It says right here, U.S. physical video game sales in 2025 amounted to roughly 1.5 billion, which sounds great, but that is the lowest all-time tracked figure in the last 30 years. So just to put that into perspective, the last time that it was this low, I was 20. Just to put that in perspective, like, look at my face. I was 20. That was a long time ago. 20 years or 30 years ago. Now, this comes from Circana's Matt Piscatella. And basically, this is saying, look, we are seeing the death of physical media. People just are not buying physical games anymore, especially when you look at the next part, because they're like, there's a silver lining, as the 11% drop in physical game spending from the year before also marks the lowest rate of decline since 2021. So what do they mean by that? What they mean by that is the number of people who are buying physical games declined a bunch. However, when you compare that to recent years, that is the smallest drop from the previous year that we've had since 2021. So 2021 to 22, we had a bigger drop. 22 to 23, we had a bigger drop. 23 to 24, we had a bigger drop. 24 to 25, bigger drop. 25 to 26, smaller drop. So that sounds like it's good news, but it's not really good news, because basically this almost feels like an asymptotic relationship where each time it goes down by a little bit less each time, but it keeps going down, and it's getting like it keeps dividing itself in half until eventually it gets so close to zero that it might as well be zero. And if we go back to the article, it says, this is interesting, video game hardware content and accessories sales in 2025 reached 60 billion. This is a 1.4 total increase over 2024 and just shy of 61.7 billion record set in 2021. So let's think about that for a minute. Basically what they're saying is, hey, the number of the amount of money that's being spent on video games right now is increasing, but the amount of money that's being spent on physical games is decreasing. And I find that to be very, very interesting, because people are always talking about, we want physical media, but it seems like nobody's buying it. And I'm going to say this right now. I don't care about physical media for me. That's why I don't buy it. Like, I don't have discs in my house. I don't buy Nintendo Switch cartridges if I can help it. I'm fine with digital media. However, I know for a lot of people it's important, so I want it to still exist. But it seems like people aren't interested enough in it. So why is that? Well, according to Circana, apparently what they're saying is that this indicates a shift in consumer behavior, including an accelerated adoption of cloud gaming. I don't know if I buy that part of it, because I don't think people are adopting cloud gaming necessarily. However, the ever-rising popularity of subscription-based services like Xbox Game Pass and PS Plus game catalog may be to blame. So when you look at that, I think that makes a lot of sense. People aren't buying games because they have the subscription and maybe this game comes out and they look at it and, well, I'll just wait for it to come to Game Pass, or I'll wait for it to come to PSN. And so they end up not buying it. And that leads to companies like PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo looking at their sales of physical hardware, or I'm sorry, physical software. And they say, you know what? Why are we making this stuff if nobody's interested in buying it? And I just think that's a really, really interesting thing. Basically, it's dropping a whole bunch, but we're not going to have physical media for video games around much longer if this trend continues. Timber21 says, as a physical movies collector, oh, guess what? Why is that not working? Hold on. I just realized something. Integrations? No. Servers, clients? On? Okay, I guess that doesn't work. Okay. Anyway. As a physical, Temper21 says, as a physical movies collector, it doesn't die. It just goes into boutique labels and you get to buy whatever they can license for $50 a pop on standard editions. I mean, yeah, but not everything's going to go that way. I mean, as somebody who plays most of my games on Steam, this doesn't really affect me, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are affected. John Jack says, if you keep going halfway there, you'll never get there. Yeah, that's how an asymptotic relationship works. Nate Anderthal, that's a funny name, by the way, says nobody would have a problem with digital media if it was all DRM free. I would agree with that, but also give us the ability to sell our games that we aren't going to play anymore. So like, let's say I buy, I don't know, the Oblivion remaster, and I play it and I finish it and I'm done with it and I don't want to play it anymore. Let me sell that to somebody. And if here's the thing that makes it actually work for those companies. If I sell it to somebody, the company gets a cut. So let's say I buy it for $70 when it comes out, and then I finish the game and I sell it to somebody used for, I don't know, $30 or something, then they get another cut of that sale. I think that would be actually kind of cool. Disco Gaming says, you have N64 cartridges. Yes, I do. In fact, you can see them right there stacked up for my analog 64. You're right about that, but that's retro. Like, I don't care about physical media for modern games. I do care about physical media for retro games. So there's just a little clarification there. Crow Resin says, I wait for the games to go on sale and then usually forget about them by the time they are on sale. Yeah, you know what? I feel seen. Yeah, but how many years until there's no drives to play these games anyway? It's gone either way. You know, John Jack, you're not wrong about that. I was watching a video. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that button. I was watching a video the other day and they were talking about like making your own. It was one of my friend of the show, Damn It Jeff. He has a video about like backing up your own stuff. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make my own like server so that I can have like a Plex server that has all of my DVDs and Blu-rays in there so that I can just box them up and put them into storage and never think about them again, and still be able to watch those movies and videos at a very high quality because it's better than streaming it to me. And when I looked at that, I thought that's just way too much work. And I actually tried to do like a Plex server before, and you know what happened? I got about halfway through my DVD library before I gave up because it just took too damn long. But these days, I don't even have an option to do it because I don't have a DVD or Blu-ray drive that hooks up to a computer. I can't even rip my own stuff anymore because you're right. John is right. The drives are all gone. I could buy the drives, I know. Mojal, do I have Conker's Bad Fur Day? I do not have Conker's Bad Fur Day. Oh, what happened here? Let me refresh this. There we go. All right. I do not have Conker's Bad Fur Day. That game was never really interesting to me. Tsunamo says, get Resident Evil 9. You know what? You brought it up, so I think I might want to talk about Resident Evil 9 for a little bit. Where was that? I had some stuff about Resident Evil 9 that I wanted to say. And I must have decided to take that out of the show notes. Well, here's what I'll say about Resident Evil 9. I've heard nothing but good things. Like, that game looks awesome. Although I did piss off a bunch of people on Twitter because somebody took a quote out of the podcast and they were like, this guy says that Resident Evil 9 sucks on Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm like, I haven't even played it. I have not even played that game. So I didn't say that. What I said was I saw some footage that SkillUp had shared in his review of it, and the Nintendo Switch 2 version looked blurry from the footage that he showed. Specifically, there was like this green, what are they called? The green herb. He showed like the green herb in the UI where like you open it up in your inventory, and it looked all like crappy looking. You know, it didn't really look great. And so that's what I said. And a bunch of people on Twitter got mad at me. However, I definitely do want to play that game. Everybody says that it is the best of the best right now. And it's in people's game of the year conversation. So that's definitely a game that I want to pick up. I think like my son has been talking to me about it, and he's like, you should play it and have mom watch you play. Because she doesn't play video games other than like Animal Crossing. And I think I might try and do that, but I got to get her on board first because I don't have a lot of time to play games. Josh says, unpopular opinion. I've never been into the Resident Evil franchise. It's never appealed to me. I mean, that's not that's your opinion of the game. Everybody has their own things that they like and don't like. Some people love it, and some people, that's not for them. And that's one of the things that makes video games awesome, is because it's subjective. Everybody can have their own opinion, and nobody's opinion is either better or worse than anyone else's. I Can't See says, ETA Prime had a video of that game running on a Red Magic phone this morning. Fun fact, it's not 100% sure, but I think ETA Prime is going to be on the next episode of the podcast, which we are recording on Friday. So if you guys are here and you're like, hey, what is this guy? What's he talking about? I talk about video game news, and ETA Prime is going to be on there. Can I link to the video of me screaming playing Resident Evil? Oh, sure. Chris Stamp. It's already linked. So go to that episode of the podcast. In the description, there's a link that says show notes, and it's somewhere in the show notes. Yeah, it's there. You can go find it. Yeah, my wife was mic'd up too, so like you can hear her screaming too. But that was Resident Evil 7, which is a great game. That game is really good. Chances are nobody saw it because I set it to mature because it's a mature rated game. And you know, I didn't want to get like flagged by YouTube for putting mature rated stuff in a not flagged video, if that makes sense. Is Sony back in biz? I'm not sure what you mean, Amanda Warrior. CML21 says, I saw the Input Labs gave your channel a tip of the cap in their blog after the Alpakka 2 did not get crowdfunded. Any chance you've heard whispers about their future plans? I didn't even see the tip of the cap. I'm not sure what the, let me go and find that. Alpakka Labs. Alpakka 2. There we go. And then I got to find the blog. Community, open source, Discord, probably research blog. Here we go. I did not know that it failed. Okay, so from the 2nd of February to the 2nd of March, we ran an Indiegogo campaign to fund the Alpakka 2. Unfortunately, it was not funded as it did not reach the target we set. We needed 900 backers, but only 115 backed the campaign, so it only reached about 1/8 of the goal, which is still a significant amount of money, but not enough to justify the cost of injection molding and certification. This also means that the campaign is canceled from an Indiegogo point of view. No money will be taken from backers. Okay, so here's what I have to say about this. And here they thank me for doing their interview, which is no big deal. Here's what I think is the problem with this: the Alpakka 2. It is very hard to understand what it does without having hands-on with it. So I haven't had a hands-on with the Alpakka 2 at all. Well, what I have had hands-on with is the Alpakka 1, and then their 1.5 version or whatever they called it, which had USB-C and wireless. The reason it failed is because people can't look at it and say, okay, I understand this thing. And I think this is the same reason why VR struggles to take off, is because you can't look at it. I can't look at it on a video and be like, okay, I can do that. I understand that. I think when people look at the Alpakka 2, they think, well, that's a weird controller, and I already have a controller, so why am I buying this thing? Does that make sense? Especially because they've never used the gyro, the dual gyro that they have in there. Although I think that they were 4 gyro are in it now. I can't remember. It was a while ago. But there's 4 gyro in it at this point. People don't understand why it's good until you have it in your hand. When they reached out to me and sent me the first one, I said, yeah, sure, send it. I'll check it out. It wasn't sponsored or anything. They just sent me a unit. And I tried it out, and I was floored at how much better the gyro was than on every other controller that I'd used. It was really, really good. But that's not something you can see when you're using it. That's something you have to feel or see when you're watching it. It's something you have to feel when it's in your hands. And that's really hard to convey, if that makes sense. Blakely says, any estimate on Switch 2? Oh, Steam Deck 2. I don't think we're going to hear about Steam Deck 2 for a really long time. The reason why? The RAM shortage. Right now, Valve can't even make enough Steam Deck 1s. They're struggling to get enough RAM to make Steam Machine and Steam Frame. Steam Deck 2, I think, is way down on their list of priorities right now, which is really too bad. Did you see that EA is looking to support their kernel level anti-cheat supported on what? Hold on, that's good news. EA, Linux. What I'm trying to find. If you have a link to that story, who said that? Cobra. If you have a link to that story, you're not going to be able to paste it into chat here, but you can paste it into my Discord. So down below, there's a link to my Discord, and you can drop a link in the Discord. And I'm going to open up Discord right now, and I'm going to be watching the NerdNest channel, which is the main channel of the Discord, for whatever you're talking about there, because that sounds very interesting. GG Win says, think Steam will punt and just release the controller. I don't know. They seemed, when they made their announcement about the delay, and I'm putting delay in quotes, they said our plan, we still think that we can do our original plan of shipping all 3 items at the beginning in the first half of 2026. So, I mean, when they posted that, they knew about the Rampocalypse. They knew about the RAM shortage. So if they knew about the RAM shortage then when they posted it, which is not very long ago, and we're talking about this timeline of just 6 months at most, maybe 5 months at that point, they gotta know what they're doing already. Like, they already have to know that they can do it, or they wouldn't have said that. They would have come out and said, we're delaying it until we know what's happening. So I don't think they're going to punt and just ship this Steam controller. But what I do wish they would do is just release the Steam controller right now. Could you? Please? Just ship it now. Pretty please? We'd all be happy. All right. Jasper says, I'm hoping that the main reason they can't make the Steam Deck at the moment is because all the RAM is going to Steam machines. Perhaps I'm naive, but that's what I hope. You know, when I made my video, when the Steam Decks went out of, what's the word I'm looking for? Out of stock. When the Steam Decks went out of stock, I made a video and I was just kind of guessing as to like, what is the reason why this is happening? That was one of the reasons that I said. Was that maybe they were taking the RAM and putting it over into the Steam machine instead. Who knows? Blake Light says, did I read that right? Blacklight. Oh, I get it now. Blacklight says, do you find interest in the 395 Max Plus or any of its devices? I actually have one. Where is it? Hang on, I'll go get it. Don't make fun of me. All right, there we go. So this is the ROG Flow Z13. Oh, it's a little dusty. This is the ROG Flow Z13. It is a Windows tablet. You can yank the keyboard off right there. This is incredibly powerful, and I have a video about it. Actually, I have a couple videos about it. So if you want to see that, just make sure you look for ROG Flow Z13 NerdNest, and you'll find a link to it. I saw that it was posted on Discord. Thank you. I'm going to open it up right now. Woodlander says, I don't think it's just the RAM, but they have limited production lines for hardware. Nice. Oh, hey, Wolfden made a video about this thing. No, his is about the the Kojima thing. He made a video about the Kojima version of this. This is the same thing, but not the Kojima one. It's a really nice tablet, but it's also really heavy. Like, this thing is hefty. It is really hefty. So I don't see myself ever using it as a tablet. But it's got a really nice kickstand. Where's the kickstand? There we go. It's got a really nice kickstand that goes way out there. If you carry this in your, wow, that was a satisfying close, wasn't it? If you carry this in your backpack along with a controller, this is a nice screen to play video games on. You know what I mean? And yes, you know what? I agree 100% with what Indo just said. Indo 426 said in chat, and they said, hit the like button. Yeah, if you guys hit the like button, it helps out a ton. It really does. Bill, have you seen Gaming Mode Companion? That's a Windows front-end shell that loads before Windows 11 loads up. I have not seen that. Grizz Finland says it's not for video games, it's for school, right? This thing, I mean, it plays video games like a champ because it's got the Strix Halo in it. You know, it's got the whatever Ryzen 395 plus AI bullshit. So it's great for video games. All right, let's take a look at this EA story that was sent over. All right. Senior anti-cheat engineer for ARM64. Okay, so ARM64, that's interesting. All right, let's see what it says. Electronic Arts creates next level entertainment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, whatever. You will, here we go. Develop a native ARM driver for EA Javelin anti-cheat, porting existing functionality to work on ARM. Develop support for loading different versions of anti-cheat based on user hardware. Implement build and test pipeline automations, validations for EA anti-cheat on ARM hardware. Design and solve emerging security threats on ARM devices. Chart a path for EA Javelin anti-cheat to support additional operating systems and hardware in the future, such as Linux and Proton. There it is right there. Okay. So here's why that's a very interesting thing. All right. Anti-cheat, kernel level anti-cheat like Javelin, requires access to the kernel. Now, I am not going to get my ass in trouble by saying what the kernel is, because a bunch of Linux nerds are going to come after me. And if you yell at me for saying Linux nerds, the name of the channel is NerdNest, so don't yell at me. Okay. I'm not going to try and explain what the kernel is, but the simple version that this idiot knows is that it's basically the lowest level of the system. And if you have access to it, then you can do a lot of bad stuff, right? So having kernel level anti-cheat on Windows basically gives them the ability to see what other software you're running and intercept it and be able to figure things out and stop you from doing things that you're not supposed to do, like cheat. Now, there's a lot of people that will look at this and they'll say, these people are trying to hack my computer. And I don't think that's really what's happening. I do think that they are trying to make a better experience for their player base. That being said, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. When I play video games, I see cheaters all the damn time. All the time. People cheat in video games, and anti-cheat nonsense does not work. So if it does not work, then maybe we shouldn't do it the way that we've been doing it. And that's with kernel level anti-cheat. Now, somebody might say, well, if kernel level anti-cheat is the best way to do it, and it is the best way to do it, then that's probably what we should do. The problem is when you give random companies access to your kernel, bad things can happen. Not because these companies are being, what's the word I'm looking for? Shady. It's because they're just not good at their freaking jobs. So you go back to, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, CrowdStrike, which I believe happened last year or in 2024. I can't remember which. Basically what happened is there was software that had access to the kernel. And because it had access to the kernel, there was a problem where there was some kind of bug. And basically the entire internet had serious issues because of CrowdStrike. Was it called CrowdStrike? I can't remember. That's a very good. No. It's okay. All right. That's a very good example of why you don't want companies to be able to put software that has access to it. Now, Microsoft said, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have kernel level access, and they got smacked down by the EU. And here's the reason why they got smacked down by the EU. It was CrowdStrike. Thank you, Lego Murder Bears. That's a funny name. The reason they got smacked down by the EU for that is because Microsoft still has access to the kernel. So basically, this very much reminds me of when Microsoft had Internet Explorer, and they made Internet Explorer kind of integrated into the entire Windows experience, and it made other browsers seem less good. And because of that, they got sued for monopolistic practices, and they lost, essentially. So the Microsoft still having access to the kernel and not allowing others access to the kernel made the European Union sit up and say, you can't do that. That sucks. But what they didn't realize, or maybe they did realize and they just don't care, is that CrowdStrike, not Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, like that, the whole reason that happened is because third-party systems had access to the kernel of way too many devices out there. So the solution is, don't let people have, or other companies have access to the kernel. Well, they can't do that because Microsoft got smacked for mentioning that. So now we have this situation where Microsoft can't stop other companies from accessing the kernel as long as they're doing it the right way. So that means the kernel level anti-cheat will continue to progress in the same way. And that means that companies are going to keep using kernel level anti-cheat because it is the best way to detect if somebody is cheating. It isn't foolproof. It doesn't always work. It's broken in a lot of times, but that's how it works. And that means that because Linux won't allow any kernel level access, that means that we can't have kernel level anti-cheat on Linux. So things like EA's Javelin just doesn't work on Linux, and that's why you end up with games that won't work. That being said, there are other companies who would be able to allow anti-cheat to work, like EA anti-cheat, or easy access anti-cheat, which is run by Epic Games. Like that would work just fine. There's no reason why that wouldn't work. All the devs have to do is go in and tick a box to say, yes, allow it. So why don't they? Two reasons. Why Epic doesn't, number one, is probably because they hate Valve, and it's probably that. But the second reason, and I think it's the more important reason, is as soon as they tick that box, then they have a new set of customers that they have to support. And it's a very small set of customers. So dedicating resources and dev hours to supporting that very small audience makes it not financially viable to do, and that's why they don't do it. Anyway, that's very interesting. I thank you so much for sending that in. Pureg says the kernel thing, the kernel is getting locked. It will take some years, but Microsoft will provide API access to do safe actions instead. Once again, only to safe partners. I mean, that sounds great, and I hope that you're right, but I doubt it. But I hope you're right. And Jasper in chat says kernel level anti-cheat is only marginally better than non-kernel level anti-cheat. And I would agree with that, but it is better. Might only be marginally better, but it is better. It's like a Pop-Tart with butter on it is a little bit better than a Pop-Tart without butter on it. But it's better, so why not put that butter on there? You know what I mean? Blacklight 93 says, what do you think the likelihood of Panther Lake would be in a Steam Deck? I think the likelihood would be almost zero. Valve and AMD really like to work together, so I don't see them switching over and working with Intel for stuff. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't see it. Oh, you know what? I can unpin this message. Somebody's going to come up with a better anti-cheat eventually. It's just a waiting game. I mean, a lot of people, I cannot tell you how many times I've made a video talking about anti-cheat and people are like, why doesn't Valve just force publishers to use their anti-cheat? And people always get mad at me when I say, well, because they'd get sued for monopolistic practices. Even if that's doing something that is good for their customers, that is a monopolistic practice. When you control the biggest video game store on the planet and you force developers to use your solutions instead of other solutions, that is very much monopolistic. And we already have a bunch of governments around the world looking at Valve and thinking, you know what, we could sue these guys and make some waves for ourselves. So yeah, that's why they don't do that kind of thing. Just got to say real quick that you guys are awesome. There's 242 people here watching me talk about video games, and that is always crazy to me. If you 242 people could do me a favor and click on that like button, it would be awesome. All right. Let's move on and talk about Marathon. How many of you guys play? You know what? I'm going to do a poll in chat. Start a poll. Have you played no. If you played Marathon, what did you think? I'm going to do 3 options. Liked it. Spelled that wrong. Liked it. Didn't like it. Whoops. Didn't play it. Start poll. I want to hear what you guys think about Marathon. All right. So, BNR32 Jason, I like that question. Can you ask it later again after I'm done talking about Marathon? Because I think that that's a good topic and I don't want to forget. Okay. So Marathon, I played Marathon this weekend. I didn't have a lot of time because I was out, as many of you know, I was out of town. And then when I got back, I decided to sit down and play some Marathon and try the game out. Because of anti-cheat, I cannot play it on Linux, so I could not play it on my PC. I had to play it on my PS5. Luckily, it did not require PSN in order to play, which is awesome. So I ended up playing it on my PlayStation without having to subscribe to PSN, so that's a win right there. And my first run through, I didn't realize that I was in queue, like a group queue, so it filled my team of 3 with 2 other randoms. One of them didn't say anything, probably didn't have a mic, which is fine. The other one was talking to me. Unfortunately, I didn't have my headphones like ready. And so he's talking to me and his voice is coming out of the controller really quietly. So we'll pretend that my AirPods case hears my controller like I'm playing. And when he said stuff, I would have to pick up my controller, put it next to my ear so I could hear him. But we're playing together and like trying to figure it out. It was my first real run. It was his second real run. And we went through, we got into a fight with some robots. The robots killed our third guy that didn't say anything. And before we could res him, he noped out and quit. And yeah, if only votes were likes, that'd be great. So he quit and was gone. So now it was just the 2 of us, and we're just running around doing stuff and having fun. And then I ran out of ammo. Like I ran out of ammo fast, and I couldn't find ammo anywhere. And when I looked at my inventory, it was hard to tell like what I had because the UI is terrible. As Charles Barkley would say, terrible. It was terrible. It was the UI of this game is bad. It looks cool at first glance, but it's completely unreadable nonsense. Okay. So like I couldn't find the ammo that I was looking for, and eventually I found a different gun. Like we killed some more robots, and I killed it with my knife, and then I stole the robot's gun. And yeah, the mic is built into the controller. Maybe he didn't know. That's a good point. But I stole the robot's gun, and so now I had a little bit of ammo. And then we ended up moving towards the extraction point. We got to the extraction point, and there was another team there waiting for us that took us out. Took us out fast. There were only two of us, and I only had like one clip of ammo left. So that was my first run through. My second run through went a little bit better, and we ended up actually extracting. We ended up taking out another team, and it was really fun. Here's what I have to say about this game. The graphics are great. I really like the art style. It's definitely unique. The UI is an absolute disaster. I have no clue what I'm supposed to do half the time. Like I have like quests that I'm supposed to do, but then my party member has quests, and I'm like, which ones do I go to, and how do I like if I'm playing with a friend, we could easily work that out. But since I'm playing with randoms, like I was like, I'll just follow you for your quests. Like I didn't want to be the jerk that's like just running off and ditching my team. But the graphics are really good. The rain, it was raining, right, during my match. And I could see raindrops hitting the ground, and they looked beautiful. But the amount of raindrops that you could see like falling through the air were like non-existent. That was really weird. But the best part about this game is the guns. The guns are fun to shoot, and they feel really good. I like Marathon. I'm going to pick it up. It's only $40, and so I'm going to pick it up. I really liked, Arc Raiders convinced me that the extraction shooter could be a genre that I could enjoy. So I'm going to be picking up Marathon, but I don't know how much time I'll spend in it. I hope that I spend a lot of time in it because I really do like the gameplay. And I'm hoping that A, they will fix the awful UI, although I think that they've said that they won't. And B, I'm hoping that I get used to all of that stuff that was confusing to me. You know what I mean? I don't think that their tutorial is very good. So let's talk about Marathon a little bit. I found this article over at Video Games 24/7, and it's talking about the server slam. It says immediately after the servers went live, Marathon shot up on Steam, the most played charts. The game quickly achieved a peak of 143,621 concurrent players. This is via SteamDB, which we'll look at in a second here, which is very respectable given that the server slam will be available for the entire weekend. There's every chance that the numbers will go up. Will they? We'll talk about it in a minute. Scrolling down. Like Marathon, Arc Raiders hosted its own server slam just a few days before its launch. That open test attracted 189,668 concurrent players at its peak, which is not that far off from Marathon. So when I see people saying Arc Raiders versus Marathon, you know what? Both can be fun. It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. You can enjoy both games. You know what I mean? So Arc Raiders versus Marathon, I think that versus nonsense is a little overblown. That said, Marathon is struggling because I think that the 143,000, I think that should be a lot higher. It's Bungie. So why is it that they had only 143,000 versus Arc Raiders 189? Here's the reason why. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this game. First off, it was delayed. Why was it delayed? It was delayed because somebody on the dev team allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because I'm not a friggin' lawyer, but allegedly stole somebody's art and put it in the game, which is a dick move. You know what I mean? And I think that turned off a lot of people. The second reason I think is there are a lot of people that are playing Arc Raiders and they're like, well, I don't need to play another extraction shooter right now, which is fine. But still, 189 versus 143, I think that that's pretty respectable. So I was curious. I went to the SteamDB, Steam charts, basically, for this. And I don't know why it says there's 76 people playing Arc Rate or Marathon right now, because you can't play it right now. This is so if you look for this, it's a different game than what's the word I'm looking for? It's a different game than like the main game. This is literally Marathon Server Slam, not Marathon. There are two different games as far as SteamDB is concerned. All right. It, like we said, it started at 180. Where is it? It started at 180,000 or 140,000, and then it went down. So this article that we were looking at before, they said it's very respectable given that the server slam will be up for the entire weekend. There's a chance that those numbers will go up. They did not. They went down. Now, why did they go down? I think that there's a couple reasons that they probably went down. The main reason that I think that those numbers went down is because people got a taste of the game and they decided either A, I'm going to buy this game and I'm going to play this game and I don't need to do anything else right now because none of this is going to count towards my progression. It's a different damn game for crying out loud. Or B, they played it and they said, you know what, this really isn't for me. I'm out, either because they didn't like the game or the UI is bad, whatever it was that turned them off, made them leave. And I've seen people looking at these numbers and they're like, oh, it's over for Marathon. And I think that those people are rooting for Marathon to fail for whatever reason. This is something I don't understand about people. When people root for things to fail, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you rooting for something to fail? Don't you want every game to be good? I want every game to be a good game. That way, when I play it, I have fun. People rooting for things to do bad, it's the same mentality of the asshole console war morons that are like, I want the Nintendo Switch 2 to fail because I like the Steam Deck more, or I want the Steam Deck to fail because I like the Nintendo Switch 2 more. Like, that is a ridiculous way to be, and it just shows very, very low maturity. Anyway, I got distracted there. If we look at the graph, the same graph for Arc Raiders, bring this up. Okay, well, guess what? It started at 189, and then it also went down. Now, if you look, it went down slower. It went down a lot slower than Marathon. Marathon had like these peaks and valleys, and I'm not sure why I can't see the peaks and valleys for Arc Raiders. And again, this is the Arc Raiders playtest, not just like the regular game. So I'm not sure why I can't see the peaks and valleys there. I tried to zoom as much as I could there, but it did go down, but it didn't go down as fast. I've also seen people saying you shouldn't compare these because the game is not out. Well, but the game, I mean, it's a live service game, so people are going to compare those things. So while I think that Arc Raiders is a great game, I think Marathon also has the possibility, the potential of being a great game. And I think that people are rooting for it to fail because they don't like Bungie, because they don't like what Bungie did with Destiny. Anyway, well, let's take a look at the poll that I ran in chat. I asked, if you played Marathon, what did you think? 3% said that they liked it, 9% said that they didn't like it, and 88% of people here didn't even play it. So I think that that's interesting, but certainly not conclusive, because most people who are watching this right now didn't play it. My question is to the people who didn't play it is because, actually, let's roll another poll. Why didn't you play Marathon? No time? Don't like this type of game? Fine with Arc Raiders. Start poll. So we're going to start a new poll, and we'll see what you guys said. And right now, I want to take a minute, and I want to thank DGarky 5598. They sent in a $5 super chat. They said, while Steam Deck and Steam Machine can use either RAM, they require a redesign and different socket to switch between LPDDR and SODIMM. Okay, so that's That kind of takes that off the table with whether or not, I mean, if this is accurate, it takes that idea off the table that the whole reason that the Steam Deck is not available is because of the Steam machine. Fred Sass 12 says, "Hi, I'm PCMR, so I want all consoles to do well, so PCMR can continue to lord over them all. The only way to be number one is to have a number 2, 3, and 4." I mean, I know you're joking. I gotta say, I despise the moniker PCMR because it just feels a little too Nazi to me. Not a fan of that. I know that that's not what people are about in that like subreddit or whatever, but I hate the term myself. All right, let's see what else. Amanda Lear says, Amanda Elder says, "I would like to try both." Yeah, I mean, Arc Raiders, I wish they had demos. I wish Arc Raiders had a demo so people could try it. I love that game. I have 80 hours in that game. It's hard to get me to put 80 hours into a game. It's really good. All right, BN32 Jason says, "Asking again by your request. You used to do a lot of Stadia streaming related content over the years. Has your opinion changed on streaming games? Have you tried local streaming, Apollo and Moonlight?" Okay, so my opinion has not changed. I do think that streaming is the future, whether we like it or not. There are definite advantages to streaming games instead of playing games locally. The advantage is you can have a lot cheaper hardware in your house. You don't have to have like expensive stuff. Is this still, what am I doing here? You can have a lot cheaper stuff and you can still experience the games as long as you have a good internet connection. The problem with streaming, though, is that everybody has different home networks. And because everybody has different home networks, I can play a game on a streaming service and have a great experience. And somebody else can play the exact same game on the exact same streaming service and have a terrible experience. And it's not the service's fault. It's probably because you're either A, too far away from the node that you're trying to connect to, or B, you have a crappy home network. And because of that, it makes it really hard to recommend those services because you never know what it's going to be like. Now, a lot of these services will have free versions, like maybe an ad-supported tier or like a super time limited tier that you can try, which is great. But you run into that issue where now you're like paying for how long you're playing and stuff like that. And I never liked that. Of all of the streaming services that I've played, and I've played a lot of them, Stadia's was the best, had the best quality in my opinion. GeForce Now has caught up. I mean, Stadia died because Google's a bunch of pansy asses that won't stick to anything. But GeForce Now caught up. And it does really, really well. Xbox has always been terrible for me. I've heard other people say that Xbox is the best one for them. So, again, maybe my connection to Xbox's servers is not as good as their connection to Xbox's servers. And at the same time, my connection to like GeForce Now is better than their connection to GeForce Now. So it's hard to nail down which one is better. So then you just have to look at their business model. Which one has the best business model? And everyone hated the Stadia business model where you buy games from Stadia and play them on Stadia. They wanted to be able to play the games that they already had. And I 100% get that. However, the way that many people put it was that You had to pay for the games, and then you also had to pay a subscription fee, which wasn't true. You could just buy a game on Stadia and play it without subscribing. You could. Now, it was locked to 1080p instead of 4K, but you could. And I think that that's fine. So when I see people, like when I would often see people say why Stadia was bad was because of the business model, I disagree with that completely. Because you could play for free, but everybody would, like, the general consensus was that you couldn't play for free. You had to pay $15 a month, and that just was not true. The $15 a month got you 4K and then access to basically Xbox Gold. It was like the same kind of thing as Xbox Gold. Basically, if you ask anybody who really played it, and I'm gonna quote my friend Bob Wolf, all right? Stadia was pretty damn good if you didn't have a bitch in your ear telling you how bad it was. It was good. Anyway, thanks for the question, man. And yes, I have tried local streaming, and most of the time it works pretty good. All right, let's take a look at this poll. So 30% said that they didn't have time to play Marathon. 61% said that they didn't like this type of game, and only 9% that said that they were fine with Arc Raiders. I think that that's very interesting. It doesn't seem that has nothing to do with how bad the game was. People just weren't interested, or at least, you know, the people who are watching this right now. You know what I mean? I mean, Reaper PC Live, you're not wrong. Cloud gaming is, there are problems with it. There are absolutely problems with it. But, I mean, remember when the PS4 came out and you couldn't play the PS4 for, I don't know, like 2 weeks over Christmas because they got hacked? Like PSN got hacked and you couldn't download your stuff? Same kind of thing happens with everything. Another question should have been, do you have too many other games that you're trying to play? Yeah, I have so many games that I'm trying to play right now. Doka Zaman says, so many looter shooters. It's so yes, there's loot. It's not a looter shooter, it's an extraction shooter. There is a difference between those. Looter shooters, you tend to get lots and lots of upgrades all the time. Extraction shooters, you go out, you get stuff, you go back to base, you build stuff, then you use that stuff to go out again to get better stuff, hopefully. But if you die, you lose all your stuff. In looter shooters, when you die, you generally don't lose anything. All right. Quick question for everybody who's watching. Audio, video, problems with the stream, because I have not streamed in a very long time. I'm streaming at 4K 60 right now. My goal is to make my stream look as good as a video. And my next question, or the question that's related to this, because I'm starting to wrap up here. My next question that's related to this is, I've been thinking about doing more live streams like this, where I sit down and I just chat with you guys and then make clips that would go on my clips channel, which, by the way, if you guys did not know, I have a clips channel. I'm going to give you a link to it so you guys can subscribe, because it would be awesome if you did. So I'm going to find that real quick. NerdNest clips. And it would be, right now, I put out clips from the podcast. The podcast on there. I will be, if I do this live stuff, I will also be putting clips from the live streams on there, because a lot of people won't watch a live stream. Oh, what just happened? Weird. My YouTube just closed, but I think the stream is still going. The only audio issue is Bad News Bill. Holy cow, CML21 sent in a $50 super chat. Thank you so much, CML. I really do appreciate that. Great thanks. Great chat. Thanks for doing it today. I appreciate you. That was really nice of you, man. BNR32 Jason says, what's your guess for the month day you'll hit 100K? I try not to think about it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I look. So, like, generally, I'll get about 1,500 new subscribers per month. February and March is usually like the weakest part of my year for a couple reasons. So that'll usually dip down. I'm thinking maybe my May or something like that. Stadia Cast for life. Nice. Thank you, Philip. I assume it would be easier to use SODIMM chips without the SODIMM board because I see a row of 8 chips all the time, but I've never seen anyone try to make a SODIMM from LPDDR5. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Degarki, you said some words there, and I understood every word, but I don't think I understood the sentence. Mojal, anything special planned for 100,000 subs giveaway? No shirt show? Trust me, nobody wants to see that. A giveaway? I don't have anything to give away. I give away my thanks to you. And if there's anybody who's watching right now that hasn't subscribed, please do. I would appreciate it. All right, last one more question. Send in a bunch of questions. I'm going to pick one more question to answer, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm going to go to trivia with my family. 100K merch. I did just have a t-shirt company reach out to me and ask me if I would work with them for t-shirts. And I have some ideas for that. I have some ideas that I'm working on for that. Who knows if it'll come to fruition. How about call-in segments for your 100K? Here's the problem. Oh, yeah, I do have a vault of keys for the giveaway. Yeah, maybe I will do that. Thanks, Jasper. I forgot about that. I haven't done it in so long. I got Kodiak Moonwolf to take over that so that I didn't have to worry about it. Where was I? Oh, call-in segments. Absolutely not. Somebody's going to call in. They're going to say some racist stuff because they're assholes, and I don't want them on my channel. Let's see. Crimson Desert. Are you excited? I'm glad you asked. I am glad you asked. I am over the moon excited for Crimson Desert. I think this game looks really cool. If you guys have not been watching this, I want to talk about this for a second. I know I said I was logging off, but I got to talk about this because this is great. I went to PAX last year and the year before, and I cannot remember which year it was. I think it was last year that I saw Crimson Desert. Like, they had like a booth or whatever, right? And when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so that's like the sequel to Black Desert Online. It's an MMO. It's an MMO. Interesting. But most of the time, MMOs don't support mouse controller. I'll look at it some other time. And I didn't even bother going over there. And I wish that I did. I wish that I went over there to check it out because I saw some footage the other day and I was like, good God, this game looks awesome. The combat, like I got an email from Pearl Abyss, like they, their marketing stuff. And because like I'm on some list and I constantly get emailed about marketing stuff, like video game stuff. And I was looking at it and I said, this combat looks crazy good. And then I did a quick search to see if I could find some information about it. And I saw like they had just like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I think, or maybe it was before that. And I didn't see it until a couple weeks ago. They went through and like did like these deep dives explaining all of the different systems in the game and everything. And it looks absolutely crazy. But then I just saw this Digital Foundry thing. And basically Crimson Desert is using a custom engine called the Black Space engine. And I'm going to link to this down below. I'm going to link to this so you guys can read this after I'm done if you want, because it's really, really good. So it says, Crimson Desert has been on my radar since I first took a look at the game at CES, but having talked more about the game and its technology with developer Pearl Abyss, I think we're looking at something truly, genuinely exciting. It is a large-scale, single-player, open-world RPG built on the proprietary Black Space engine, targeting high-end rendering features alongside strong performance. It's ambitious, but based on the latest footage, Pearl Abyss may have well done it. It is still a work-in-progress build, and they recorded all of this stuff that you're going to see if you watch this video from Digital Foundry. All this stuff that was seen was recorded on a last-gen AMD GPU hardware. No upscaling is in use, and performance is impressive, quite unlike the typical experience you would expect from, say, an Unreal Engine 5-based title at equivalent settings and pixel count. So first off, I want to say Arc Raiders is Unreal 5, and that game it performs fantastically. Maybe it's not a graphics powerhouse or whatever, but it runs great. Like, it runs really well, even on subpar hardware. But let's take a look at some of these screenshots. So here you can see in this picture, you can see like the sunlight is coming in through these windows and it's hitting the ground here. And they actually do have like a day-night cycle. So what's happening is they had a time lapse in the video, and I'm not going to show the video on stream, but you could see in the time lapse the light changing inside the building throughout the day as the sun moved across the sky, which was really, really crazy. If we go on to the next picture, here you can see, like, look at these reflections down. I don't know if you guys can see this. Whoops. You know what? You cannot see that. Let me move this up a little bit. Chrome. There we go. So down on the bottom, we can see like these reflections. They just look really, really good. But you also look how the light is like this pillar, right? You can't see my mouse. I just realized, oh, there we go. Now you can see the mouse. This pillar right here, it's really dark. Like, the pillar is dark. That's because the light's coming from the other side, which just looks fantastic. And the same thing here. You look at this image right here. Where's my mouse? You see the sun coming in through the windows. The room is kind of lit up. But if you look over here, the sunlight is not hitting this corner over here. This bookcase is really, really dark. And this shot blew my mind. Nighttime in Crimson Desert is actually dark. It's actually dark. And this guy is like riding his horse. Honestly, this screenshot looks like crap compared to what you see in the YouTube video. He's riding his horse at night with a torch. You can't see anything with this rainstorm going on. This looks awesome. I love the way that this looks. And look at the draw distance here on a last gen AMD GPU. That draw distance is really, really far. It's just a beautiful game. And it's not just that, but it also has a lot of cool things in it that I think sound awesome. Like, they're saying here, you could say that there are hints of Breath of the Wild, my all-time favorite game, in its systems. Like, you can climb on any surface that you want, you can climb, which is awesome. They say ray trace global illumination is key here, used across the board in both indoor and exterior environments. Crucially, this appears to be a per pixel solution rather than a probe only or probe driven hybrid system, delivering convincing bounce lighting and nuanced indirect global illumination with believable contrast. I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't know what the hell they're talking about with probe only or probe driven or per pixel solution. I don't know what that means, but if Digital Foundry is impressed by this, then so am I. And if I bring this up, we can look at some more images here. Oh, these are the same images we were just looking at. So I guess it's not more images. But then there's this video that they show of the water. And when you see the water come up, like it is rising and falling around these rocks that you see right here, it's just absolutely beautiful. This is a gorgeous game, an absolutely gorgeous game, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And it's not just that it looks nice, but all of the other stuff like that I saw with the game looks unbelievable. Like they have like a market system where when you go to buy things, you can see like the price has changed over time of the different things that you're getting. Owned Not Licensed said, oh, that's a fun name. Says the 7900 XTX they're using in the test is within 10% of the performance of an RTX 5080. Okay. I feel like an old alien because I hate realistic 3D graphics. I mean, everybody likes their own stuff, man. Chance it will run on the Steam Deck. Well, so if you bring up, I mean, I don't know, but if you bring up steampowered.com and you go to Crimson Desert and you confirm your birthday, and we scroll down. Let me bring this up now. We scroll down. Here's your minimum requirements. Whoops. Minimum requirements there. Let's see. Ryzen 5 2600X, 16 gigs of RAM. Steam Deck has 16 gigs of RAM. RX 6500 XT or a GTX 1060. Now, I don't know how that compares to the Steam Deck because I'm not a hardware nerd as much as I'd like to be. But those are really reasonable. Really reasonable minimum specs. So I don't know how it would run. How do you guys, like, maybe you guys are bigger hardware nerds than I am. Like, how is this thing going to run? Or how is this game going to run on, say, a Steam Deck or a Lenovo Legion Go or something like that? While I'm waiting for you guys to answer that question, Philip Vaughn says, I saw in a past podcast you mentioned moving. Do you have any plans for a new NerdNest? Your current setup is the nerd's dream, very cozy and cool. Well, so the house that I'm looking at, or that we're looking at, we're trying to sell ours right now. The house that we want has a garage. It's a big garage. And upstairs in the garage is a place where I could easily put a studio that would be actually bigger than this, which would be great. But the thing I'm most excited about for that is that I get to leave my studio, because I spend a lot of time in here working. And then at the end of the night, my wife and I sit over here and watch TV. So like I'm in this room way too much. Oopsai says it's very entry-level PC if you ask me. Yeah, see? Own Not Licensed says Steam Deck is far below that, but it doesn't mean they can't release shaders for it and the devs optimizing the better. That's true. I mean, look at Elden Ring. Like Valve said, hey, this is a big game. Let's optimize it for From Software for the Steam Deck. Hey there, Rowan from Australia. Thank you so much. G'day. I find games with photorealistic graphics are typically dead worlds because the entire game is all about those graphics. Watch the video. It's not my video, so I'm not going to make any money from it. Watch the Digital Foundry video. It is not a dead game. Like there's a lot of stuff happening in this game. It looks pretty jam-packed. But that's going to do it for this first live stream in a very long time. Thank you guys for hanging out. Big thank you to Andre Philip Ramos and D Garkey, as well as CML21 for your super chats. You know what? You guys sending those in, gave me things to talk about, which was great. But more importantly, you supported the channel. And that's really awesome. So I appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'm going to end the stream now, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm not going to end it yet because every time I end it, it like cuts off the end of my sentence. So I'm going to wait a minute. All right, here we go. Bye, everybody.